You're listening to TehachaPod with Key Budge, Corey Costello, and Greg Garrett.
TehachaPod time again. Key Budge, Greg Garrett, Corey Costello. Gentlemen, how are you today?
Doing good, Key.
Fantastic.
I do have to, I made a mental note, ask you how you're doing, because last time I forgot, because I get into this other shifted gear of doing mini podcasts. And today's guest that we're going to have on has been a feature in two of the mini podcasts that we've done.
Yeah.
Jeanette
Mini
Pauer.
podcasts are going well, I've heard.
Yeah, we're getting some very positive feedback.
Yeah.
So maybe
Awesome. Little snippets.
a little teasing what's going on around the community. And Jeanette Pauer from the Greater Tehachapi Chamber of Commerce has been joining me on those monthly updates. And today we invited Jeanette in for a full conversation. So Jeanette, welcome back to TehachaPod again. Quickly, a 3-time guest.
I know. I feel like it's like Saturday Night Live. I should be getting an award of some sort.
That's right. Yeah.
And there's some controversy, something's going on,
Right.
Can't please everyone, I suppose. We're just trying to get information out.
And we've had an opportunity to meet with you several times, different events, and then also having meetings talking about the chamber moving forward and how the city can be a part of that fabric and working together. But the community, this is our introduction of Jeanette to the community through TehachaPod. We've all selfishly been having these conversations with you, and now we're able to share it. So we'll kind of rehash some of the things that we've talked about in these other meetings, I think, because the chamber has a new energy. And that I definitely see that as what you're bringing to the table today. So thank you very much for taking the time to fit us in. But already in the short time you've been there, you've already infused a lot of energy into the chamber.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that very much. I asked my husband on my way out the door today, I said, how long have I worked there? And he said, 5 weeks. I went 5 weeks down, 5 more to go. We're going to get it.
What was the transition like? I mean, I know you all were living up here and you were in real estate, and then this opportunity at the chamber come up. So what was the sort of thought process for you to sort of make that shift, and why did you want to choose and to come and work at the Greater Tehachapi Chamber of Commerce?
Well, the decision actually started about a year ago. May 5th, my father died very unexpectedly. And my dad was a huge supporter of his local city and actual government for the state as well, and a big nonprofit believer. And I'd been in nonprofits up until real estate. Sorry, Tehachapi allergies. That one killed me the other night. So I'd been involved in nonprofits up until I was involved in real estate. And I really loved real estate. But then my dad died very unexpectedly. And I felt like I wanted to get back to a nonprofit. And I thought long and hard as to what that would look like. Do I want to go back into education? Do I want to go back into archaeological preservation? Do I want to go into advocacy? And this opportunity kind of organically came about, and I thought long and hard about it. And I saw a phenomenal opportunity for me to help and advocate and promote the local businesses of Tehachapi. And I'm very excited for this opportunity.
Very glad that you chose Tehachapi. And, you think about the Chamber of Commerce. This is super important, right? When we talk about local revenues coming and going out of people's pockets, businesses, small, medium, large businesses, this is what makes a community strong, right? The commerce in a local community. We talk about shopping local. That's what you're doing. You have members, and you're promoting those members and those businesses. You're helping educate them. You're just pushing them forward. Sometimes they're pushing us forward, but we're all going forward in the same direction, pulling on the same rope.
That's right. And both my parents owned small businesses, and my dad's business became very large, and he sold it off later on. But everyone in a business is affected, and it's tremendously important that you have someone who can promote and advocate on your behalf, or point you in the direction where you need to go if you have questions and problems.
And especially now, it seems like every time we turn around, COVID, and now we're looking at, I don't even want to use the word recession, but people keep talking about it. Interest rates are going up. So we have another mountain to climb. but we're going to climb it together and we're going to conquer that mountain together. That's right.
That's right. And, you know, I have had the opportunity just this week alone. There's a local woman who was having issues with her billing, and she didn't understand why she was being billed, or actually tripled what she should have been billed for I won't disclose the company. And she sat down. It took us 7 hours to clear that billing situation. But we did it. I asked the questions. She just was overwhelmed because it had a lot of technology involved, and she's just a mom and pop. And so we were able to work through it and get the billing corrected and actually get it refunded to what she had been overcharged. But it's just Yeah, that's my new job, is to advocate and promote and help you out.
And one woman show, or do you have volunteers or looking for part-time help? How's that working out?
Yes, and yes. So it's a one woman show right now, but I am very fortunate that I do have some volunteers who are helping with the ribbon cutting. I have a phenomenal young woman who's tremendously talented in marketing and public relations, Sara E. Diaz. She's also a realtor at Country Real Estate, but she's been helping me with my Facebook. She's helping me with my rebranding. So we have lots of volunteers. So if anyone is interested in volunteering, I'd love to talk to you.
I think that you hit on it a few times, but talking about the advocacy piece, dealing with small businesses myself on a lot of occasions, you realize that these folks, being very small operations, are for the most part married to their business when it's open, and they're married to it when it's sometimes closed as well. There's not a lot of time for them in the day to go out and handle things like utility bill questions or what legislative things are out there that might be impacting them when it comes to employment laws and that sort of thing. It's very hard to peel them away from their actually operating their business. So I think that advocacy piece, whether it's local advocacy, state advocacy, national advocacy, or even just the little help here and there, is super important for the role of the chamber.
Well, the one thing that has surprised me, I've actually talked to Assemblyman Fong and Senator Grove. They absolutely love Tehachapi, and they are very, very familiar with Tehachapi and its needs, and they can see what's coming down the pike, but from our surrounding sister cities, for the lack of a better word. And I was surprised at how truly knowledgeable they are about this community and their ties to this community. So it was wonderful talking to them.
And I've spoken to some of their reps in the past, and they keep up on what's happening in Tehachapi. Part of this is the podcast; they do a lot of listening to that. But they've made comments that they maybe don't visit Tehachapi as much as they would like, but they've made the point that you guys have so much community help, and you guys do such a great job of helping each other that there's not a need for us to be in town all the time at every single event. You're not asking for the assemblyman or the state senator to be at everything, because you guys have got it, or there's not a lot of problems that come across their desks from this community. So that's a great testament, not just to the city, but the entire community, as we're represented by those state representatives.
And all of those representatives attend the monthly luncheon.
Yeah.
And I think that's important to point out to the listener, because if you have an issue or you have something you'd like to discuss, Vince Fong, Shannon Grove, and Kevin McCarthy's representatives attend, and Kern County attend the monthly luncheons.
Right. And after the luncheon, we go back to the Chamber of Commerce, and we'll talk about what's coming down the pike that they see or that they're fighting for. So, for instance, Senator Grove is very concerned about VA vets not being able to get into housing because of this housing market being very crazy. So she wanted a local realtor, so I set her up with someone, but someone who could keep her informed as to what the housing is doing, how many VA loans are going out. So that's something that they're very concerned about. But what we're going to try and do is have what they call as ledge days, which I had never heard of. Yeah. But they're going to try and have hours prior to either the luncheon or immediately after the luncheon, where representatives can meet you and schedule time. Because of restrictions and COVID, they're not allowed to do it just yet. But once those restrictions are lifted, then they will start using the Chamber of Commerce's boardroom for meeting with local people who have concerns or questions.
And if you need City Hall's conference room, we have a couple. I'll just offer that now, because there may be a crowd talking to Senator Grove, but Vince Fong's crowd may want to talk about something else. We can utilize City Hall assets also for that.
Absolutely, because we have 3 different reps. So thank you. I appreciate that. I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I think is really good, is when we start to bridge together, and helping each other out, supporting each other out. Greg, I mean, here you are, just in the conversation, you're willing to, make an asset available, that benefits the entire community. And that's how we try to work together. So to your point, Corey, about the feedback you get is that Tehachapi seems to always try to be a problem solver.
Yeah.
You've solved a problem for a businesswoman who was having some difficulties. I mean, we're problem solving. You can have problems, but sometimes it's good to let's work through it together. Where's the fix in this? And
it has nothing to do with party affiliation. It has to do with representation.
That's correct.
And that's what we're talking about.
Right. And then, so with that, we also throw out the coffee with the mayor too, because that's something that I think is, we'd love to see you out there at those too, because that's another opportunity when people come and they'll talk about maybe potential businesses and things like that at coffee with the mayor and throw things against us. And, Jeanette, if you were there, I think that's another resource for people.
Yeah, it's good. And those are things too. I mean, when I deal with a lot of the, development side of things, or people coming to either start a business, they're starting a new small business, or maybe they're even a large business, a franchisee or a corporate structure, they come in and they get everything built and they're ready to open in Tehachapi. They always ask, okay, what's my next step? And I always tell them two things: join the chamber and then join the EDC. The two things that I say to be a part of, because each serves a purpose and each will benefit the business, whatever size, in one way or the other. And I point that out a lot too. I think a lot of folks focus a lot on small business, which is very important, but even some of the chains, so to speak, are local franchisees. Our McDonald's operation is local. That's a local operation. Those are hiring local people. They pay a franchise fee to McDonald's to keep that store open every year. And so it really is kind of a small business, even though it's got the giant corporate structure around it. And there's a few of those other examples out there too. So I think it's really important to attach, get those people connected. And the chamber is always one spot. Always send them that direction.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. And I look forward to those opportunities to help those businesses grow and find their feet here.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's continue on Corey's part where he bridged in the EDC. You're present at the EDC meetings, and that's where I think I first got the opportunity to meet you, was at those meetings. People can reach out right there at the meeting if they get there early during the networking, and if they're not a member of the chamber, they can take that opportunity to join the chamber at that time or ask you how they go ahead and do that.
Absolutely. Yeah, the meetings start at 7:30, but if you can get there at 7, it's best so you can meet and mingle. They try to keep their schedule very tight in to be respectful. Again, Sudafed and a couple of espresso shots later, to make sure that people can leave in a time to open up their businesses.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. I'm always there. And come talk to me or email me at commerce at our chamber at tehachapi.com.
And that's the first Wednesday every month.
Yep.
At 7 a.m. 7:30 is meeting time, but
Yeah.
7 to 7:30 is really the networking.
Yeah. I think you have coming up, it's something you brought back, just it's a little delayed this year, but the installation dinner of your board, and also recognition of Citizen of the Year, large and small businesses of the year. So small business, we have got a couple city businesses represented, Hydrochrome being the small business of the year, and Waste Management, who does business in the city and county, but they're the franchise hauler for the city, are the large business of the year. And Citizen of the Year, we couldn't be happier about this
Drum
selection.
roll, please.
Yeah, we absolutely love Lewis Brown.
Yeah.
He is a phenomenal man. He pretty much he's got a great board of folks over there at the senior center.
Yeah.
But Lewis is one of those, I don't know how old he is, but he's at the senior center, and I have to tell him a lot of the time, he's like, oh, I painted this ceiling. And I'm like, Lewis, don't get on. No, we'll send city crews over to paint this, man. Don't go up on a ladder and paint. But he is so proud of that facility. He does so much work in that facility. And I go to their board meetings because it really is the greatest group of volunteers out there as the senior center folks. And their meetings are really entertaining. And they do a lot of good for the senior citizens. So great selection on Lewis. He's an amazing human being.
Well, it was really interesting talking to him. He's like, I don't think I deserve this award. There's just not a lot of nominees
Well,
this year.
that makes it even better, right?
He's
Yeah.
like, was there just a lack of choices? and I read the letters that were submitted about him. He's like, oh, well, I did do that, and I did do that. No one told you about the time I was in a play, did they?
Yeah,
No.
he's active with TCT. Yeah.
I said, no, they didn't tell me about it. Oh, no, I was just curious. And he goes, well, I guess I kind of did stay busy during COVID.
Yeah.
And I just kind of laughed. He was so humble. Was just a lack of applicants this year, Jeanette?
Yeah, no, he does a great job. The whole senior center board is very engaged, and they do a lot of great things for our senior citizens at the senior center. But he's on top of it, and he's fantastic selection.
He's genuinely loved by the people around him.
So that's
Absolutely.
May 21st out at the Stein Springs Community Center.
Yes, it is. And we're going to have a wonderful band after the event. Mean Gene Baker. I don't know if you've ever heard of MGB, but he's going to be playing afterwards. And it's just going to be a good celebration.
And if the general public wanted to attend, they could buy tickets for that?
Yes, absolutely. Eventbrite. Just go to Eventbrite.
Okay.
It's
Nice.
under the Chamber of Commerce installation dinner.
Fantastic.
Very nice event, yeah.
And then because we've got the installation dinner in May, we're not going to do a luncheon in May, and we're going to move the monthly luncheon to June.
That's correct.
And then you've got someone special coming in June, if I do remember correctly.
Well, a local Tehachapi native, right?
Okay.
His name's Kevin Rohr. He's going to be the director of the Antelope Valley Air Show, and he is also the head chief public relations officer for NASA. So he's going to talk about what's going on in aviation and aerospace, and of course the air show. He's going to do lots of Q&A, which, this community loves aerospace, so I expect a lot of questions and answers. There's a rumor that there's going to be lots of swag. Lots of cool NASA stuff.
NASA loves their stuff. We could load every once in a while at City Hall. I know Kevin stopped by. Yeah, here's a bunch of calendars. Here's some pins.
I have a NASA sticker on my iPad.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So lots of swag, and then there's going to be lots of people who work at NASA too who are going to be attending to kind of field questions as well. My husband will be there. He's the director of operations for the X-59, which is a supersonic airplane. So he's like, in case anybody wants to ask questions about supersonic, I'll be in the corner.
That's an interesting project, though. It really is what that technology could lead to in terms of commercial flight in the future.
Right, and that's kind of what NASA does. If you think about all of the innovation and research and development that they do, it goes to the community. They don't hog it and keep it for themselves. They develop it for people to use.
Yeah, the space program has birthed a lot of technology.
And that'll be the second Tuesday in June, and tickets also Eventbrite?
Also Eventbrite. We're expecting 100 people for that, and we have to cap it off at 100. So normally, if you don't make a reservation, we won't reject you at the door. But this one, just physically, the fire marshal will not allow any more than 100 people. So, it's going to go up for where you can get your tickets probably the third week in May. So then you'll be able to get your tickets at that point in time.
And that's at Big Papa's.
That's at Big Papa's at noon.
So put a calendar reminder in your phone right now.
June 21st.
To buy your tickets come June 21st.
Great food, great speaker.
Or May 21st. May 21st,
Yes.
not June 21st.
Well, the event's June 21st, but the tickets will go up the third week of May.
Okay, perfect. So you have a whole month to get those in line. Now, the Chamber every year, Mountain Festival is your baby. So I can't think that you just wait till a few weeks before to put it together. I'm thinking this is probably a year-long plan, and you're going to try and do this in 6 months?
Yep, and we will. We will. It's the 59th Mountain Festival, and the theme this year is a mountain homecoming. It was actually kind of spurred by a conversation with Greg about multiple generations come back to the festival. Everyone knows that weekend, and they plan their family trips, their reunions. And then I was talking to someone else who mentioned that it's homecoming weekend for the high school as well.
Yeah.
And so one of the submissions by David Shaw was a mountain homecoming. And so it just seemed really fitting. So it's the theme this year is a mountain homecoming. We already have about half of the vendors already signed up. All the food vendors are signed up. We're working on the beer garden alcohol permit right now and insurance and a few other things, but it's coming together and it's going to be a lot of fun.
And you've only been here 5 weeks.
I know.
You've already got all the food vendors lined up and half of the other vendors. That blows me away because I know how big this event is.
Yeah.
And the coordination with TMRA, Tehachapi Mountain Rodeo Association, for the rodeo same weekend.
Yes, I met with them. Wonderful, wonderful gentlemen. Yes, that is a phenomenal event. So we actually just launched a website yesterday, Tehachapi Mountain Festival. You can go take a look at it. We've had websites in the past. This one just has a better picture and as well as a schedule of events.
Nice.
And car show downtown?
Car show downtown.
All right. That's always a crowd favorite.
And this year you've, again, I know there's been logistical challenges. So in the past, there's been a carnival where the carnival used to be is being developed now. But also there's logistical issues with getting carnival rides and people and just getting them employed in California anymore is tough. So you've actually partnered with the Apple Festival folks to put the carnival piece at the Apple Festival for the second year in a row, correct?
That's correct. So the long story short of it is I've talked to every licensed and insured carnival in the state of California. And during COVID, they were not allowed to be open because it wasn't considered essential personnel. So a quarter of them went bankrupt, a quarter of them sold their businesses, and the other half moved to out-of-state areas. So they're in Utah, Oregon, and Colorado. That's those states they chose. And basically they were able to reschedule their routes. Mm-hmm. So they figured every 6 hours they plan a route. It minimizes the stress, minimizes the travel, minimizes the cost of gas and transportation. Mm-hmm. They didn't have the restrictions that here we do in California. So the reality is carnivals will be leaving the state of California over the course of time.
So no carnival at the Mountain Festival this year. It will be in conjunction with the Apple Festival,
Right.
which is later in the year.
Right.
Okay.
We luckily have the carnival guys who get to store their equipment here in California. So
But there's still tons to do for Mountain Festival weekend.
oh my gosh,
Please
tons.
come. Yeah.
Tons and
Lots
tons.
to do.
We have jumping castles, we've got face painting, we've got live bands, and I'm working on getting a kids rodeo, a bunking bull.
Nice.
Oh,
Yeah,
very
with
cool.
gymnastic pads around it. So
There you go.
We should get a dunk tank. We could put the mayor in the dunk tank.
that's a money raiser right there.
Oh, wouldn't that?
Did you just volunteer here?
Oh, I can't.
Yeah.
I can't believe I just said
Put
that.
Greg in the dunk tank. No one wants to dunk Phil.
Yeah, there'd be a lot of people to pay to dunk me, I'm sure.
Now, you've also got some ribbon cuttings that are coming up, celebrations of business, new business. Are we doing anniversary ribbon cuttings? I know that was something that had been once or it seems like it was something
Couple
new
times,
that came.
yeah.
We will be doing this in the future. We will be doing this in the future. We don't have any scheduled right now.
Okay. And then you do have a ribbon cutting that is coming up for, is it Golden Hills IT?
Yep, Golden Hills IT is the 28th at 4 o'clock. And you know, Daniel Burgess has been working really hard to get his business up and running. Great guy. So it's going to be April 28th at 4 o'clock, and that is 979 West Valley.
Yeah, right behind Fast Trip.
Yeah, near Canine Creek. Yep.
So, folks, if you're listening, this is Jeanette Pauer with the Greater Tehachapi Chamber of Commerce. Jeanette is 5 weeks into this position as the president of the chamber and moving it in a positive direction. And we just, the energy that you brought, it continues. So in 5 weeks, you haven't lost any of that beat. You know, from when we first met with you on day one, it was like you were moving, and it's like, okay, I'm going to take it all on, and you're taking it on. So that's,
And this was probably the main attribute that I kind of thought of, when this opportunity availed itself. And that was kind of my thought. And I shared it with a few people is the biggest thing is going to be energy, because there's so much to do with such a limited amount of people. And so you got to do it all, and you got to have the bandwidth to do it all as well. So I think, you've checked that box so far with the energy.
Well, thank you. I may not have lost momentum, just sleep.
Yeah, there you go. I heard Arnold Schwarzenegger one time talk about that, about his journey, right, as a bodybuilder and then an actor and then, governor of California and so on and so on. And he said, people say they don't have time because we'll have to sleep 6 hours. And he said, well, sleep faster. Just sleep faster. Like, you've got more time to make. And so, you can sacrifice a little bit of sleep. It's all right.
Yeah, I sleep very well.
There you go. Exactly. It's quality over quantity.
Yeah, I sleep very well.
And then the website, Tehachapi.com, that's going to be revamped, and you're got a whole plan for that?
We do. We're very, very excited about the website. So it's going to be completely different. It's going to have photos that are really representational of our community by local photographers, Stephen Oliver and Nick Smirnoff. And it's going to have the businesses, the community. It's going to be a better representation of our businesses here.
Little TehachaPod player on the front page. I'm just saying.
It could be.
Just throwing that out there.
It could be.
Just throwing that out there right there.
We have to feature the updates that feature Jeanette.
Be like MySpace.
mini-pods.
Be like MySpace was back in the day. You go on the page and start playing a song automatically. You just start playing TehachaPod automatically.
There's a throwback to the
Can we just
MySpace days.
focus here?
It's like Greg's car. Greg's car for some reason throws TehachaPod on every time he gets in and turns it on. And
It
go back to
does.
TehachaPod.
Well, I've got a COVID car. Everything's wrong with it.
You're not the only person I've had.
I am not kidding you.
I had a member of the community say, for some reason, every time I get in my car and turn it on, it goes to the podcast on your phone, on my phone of you guys.
The other day, I think, Corey, you were there. I walked by the car and the rear hatch opened.
Yeah.
I'm like, it just
And
opened.
TehachaPod started playing. I don't know how that happened.
Let's go a little further. Now, what about business directory? I know in the past, Chamber has produced a business directory. Is that still in the queue?
Absolutely, absolutely. Last year, I think we published 12,000 business directories. So I'm still giving the rest of them out. So I still have some if you're interested in them. But yes, we will be heading the business directory. I'm actually interviewing 3 printers right now because, as we know, everything has gone up. Yes, so I'm trying to see what I can broker to save our businesses money. But we already have a template at one broker or a one printer, so it may be that he gets the contract.
There you go.
But yes, we are. That's a phenomenal guide. When I first moved here, that was like my Bible and finding businesses to get things done.
Yeah, there's fewer folks use Yellow Pages anymore. There's
Right.
fewer of those produced. So something that's business specific categorized is useful for newcomers and also even someone who just opens a business in this area to find out vendors, suppliers, things they might be able to use as well. It's a good cross-reference tool for them.
Yeah, I get requests quite often, or I should say the majority of them are realtors. When they have someone who moves to the area, they give them a packet, and that referral guide's always in it. So it's fantastic.
And let's talk about your social media presence.
Okay.
We've got a new Facebook page. So we find the new page at Greater Tehachapi Chamber. So it's got a new address. It's got a new look and feel, current posts. And are you going to expand beyond the Facebook and maybe add Instagram, or are we going to stick with Facebook for now?
Oh, dreams.
TikTok.
You got caviar and champagne dreams. No, we will be expanding it. So I do have a phenomenal volunteer. Her name's Sari Diaz, and she is working on our rebranding. And once we kind of get a better feel and rhythm for our Facebook, then we will expand that out. And we're actually talking about what that should look like and who that should represent and what our target is. So we want to do a little bit more research before we just kind of blast it out there.
But we do want people to follow the page because it is the new one. The old page is still up, but we want people to go to the new page, and you'll see with current postings, you'll be able to see it very clearly that this is the new site. So make sure you follow and then share these posts so that way we can get the Chamber of Commerce exposed to new faces.
And we've done Key and I have done the research, and just in our, whether it's social media for small business seminars, that sort of thing. Facebook does it in Tehachapi. It is by far still, the recommended platform, the one that people use the most. Instagram's kind of second. Twitter is way off. It's just not there. It's not a community that we use something we use very often. I remember talking to, I think it was Chris Scotty from Discover Tehachapi, and he said, or maybe it was Claire, but she said, when we were down south, everything was moving to Instagram. And when we moved to Tehachapi to start this business, we had to kind of go back in time and go back to Facebook because that's where we were able to reach our customers. So I think even just having the Facebook is actually the right spot to start for this, to reaching out to this community.
Right. And there's like 15 to 20 Facebook groups here in Tehachapi, like keep it Tehachapi, keep it local.
Yeah.
What's going on Tehachapi? So there's tons of venues where we could post and help each other grow.
Yeah. And I think you'll find with the Instagram, when you look at it, since it's the same ownership, they talk to each other very well. So the posts transition very well without having to click to a whole nother page.
Yeah.
But, it's a different audience, and we utilize both, in how we talk to the community.
That's the goal. That is the goal. Is a year from now, you and I will have this different conversation on this, but that is the goal, is to have that, as well as what we'd like to create a visual vault. So people and businesses in the local community can use our photos that we take, and for their marketing as well. So, yeah.
It's a good idea because they'll either steal them anyway, or you might as well give them permission to do it.
Well,
right.
And some of the forward thinking that you've already brought in this short period of time, you already talked to me about there's been some interest in people learning how to do podcasts.
That's correct.
And things like that. So our community is evolving, and even though we kind of go back to Facebook, but we're part of this conversation of this growing new medium that we're on right now. And there's other businesses that are interested in maybe doing their own thing.
Well, I spoke to 3 different business owners, and it's really interesting because, COVID forced everyone to go digital. If you're a paper business and you've done all of your record keeping in paper, COVID was a struggle for you. And so they've transitioned to digital, and now they want to learn what's next, now that they've conquered that fear. And so they want to start doing podcasts. They want to start doing more social market media. So hopefully in the fall, I was planning on doing a business development class. I still need to get a survey out to see if this is just a good idea or if people are seriously interested, would they attend? But I know that I have probably the 3 biggest requests are podcast, social market media, and how to develop an LLC or an S-Corp correctly. Those are the requests.
Well, I remember Key and Corey taught a social media class. Very well received, and we could do that again.
So you're volunteering them again?
I am.
Excellent.
We'll check our calendars.
Hey, it's better than a dunking booth.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Greg gets a dunking booth. We get to talk to people. I'll take that.
How did that work out?
I don't know. You brought it up. Yeah.
No, that was a great class. A lot of positive feedback, and businesses really utilized those tips and started focusing on what matters the most.
And we couldn't have timed
Because-
it better or worse, because COVID hit like 3 months later, and everybody all of a sudden had to go to social media to get anything out, especially the restaurants who needed to get their restaurant to go specials squared away.
Yeah, Johnny's Take and Bake did a great job during that time period with social
Kelsey's, we've talked about Kelsey's.
Johnny's
They're
Take
just
and Bake,
phenomenal.
they were our they were part of our panel. So we brought them up because they did such a great job marketing themselves. And this was when Amy was owning it. She recently sold, but they were marketing themselves, not just, hey, this is what we have on special today. It was like how pizza is in their life, and they've had it fun. And so we talked about that with them a little bit, and then other folks were able to take that on too. And then COVID hit, and it was like, okay, well, good thing they all know. And we saw Kelsey's grow from really not having any social media presence to slowly building and developing an app and being able to really embrace that technology in a short amount of time.
Well, Jeanette, you mentioned, COVID forced us to do certain things, and we've talked about it before on this show. There was a silver lining. It's as hard as that is to even say, but COVID forced us to be more efficient with our digital lives. This right here, this podcast being one of them. And so it's really helped everybody in certain ways, and embrace digital networking.
I agree. I think you're absolutely correct.
Well, Jeanette, is there anything that maybe we haven't talked about that you'd like to bring up?
I can't think of anything right now other than I am trying to work with Saracoso on getting classes for the high school students where they can get collegiate credit and work experience, where they would work as interns at the Chamber of Commerce for business, marketing, and photography. And so they'll get college credit for that while working and getting internships. So, but they're the kids who are so savvy with technology that I think that, if we can expose them to the business world and have them meet the businesses, see how a business plan's created, but then they can help with the social market and media as well.
Love that.
Yeah.
Okay, we got a lot going on. You have a lot going on.
Say what?
And then every month, Jeanette joins me for a mini pod as we talk about just updating what's going on in the coming weeks. So
Just the monthly calendar, I suppose, right?
it
For
is.
the mini, yeah.
It is. So we've got this new digital podcast version of a calendar, and Jeanette and I share that, and we do that now every month. We've got 2 in the can. And that's something that we look forward to doing all the time.
I'd even encourage people too to, when you hear those and Jeanette talks about maybe a ribbon cutting, if you're available at that time, pop in, take a look, because it's a chance to really see the business, meet the business owner.
Right.
Because then you feel more of an attachment to said person when you need, maybe it's in the case of Golden Hills IT, right? You need IT services, computer repair, whatever it might be. And you feel like the owner, and then you're really more willing to take business there. So I'd encourage folks, if they have the ability to do so, pop into those ribbon cuttings, pay attention to where they're at, and really get to know the business owners in the community.
It makes a difference when you put a name and a face together.
Yeah.
And this is that open opportunity to come and do that.
I think it's one of the reasons Tehachapi is so special is because you do know the owner. I went to Canine Creek on Sunday to buy food for my dog. She already knew what it was. Hey, Jeanette. Hey, Kelly. How's it going? Yeah, Juno need more dog food treats. Yeah, she needs more dog treats. She's like, how's your Papasuka going? So, she's super helpful. But yeah, it's one of the things that makes Tehachapi so special is that you do know the owners.
Yeah.
And you do have that relationship.
Absolutely.
And now we've introduced Jeanette Pauer, if you don't know her, that she is the president of the Greater Tehachapi Chamber of Commerce. And Jeanette, welcome to the position. Welcome, to this position that you've got, that you're embracing wholeheartedly, and we're running alongside you. So, welcome.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And I'll gift wrap a espresso machine and get it sent over to the chamber office so you can keep going, keep that energy up.
That Benadryl and espresso shots, that's the key, folks.
Perfect.
Well, it worked for today.
It did.
Well, guys, anything in closing?
I think we're good, Keith. Thank you.
Good to go.
All right, folks, we appreciate your time here on TehachaPod, and we encourage you to go to the at Greater Tehachapi Chamber on Facebook, and then Tehachapi.com. The website is being revamped. So if you look at it and it hasn't changed, it will be very, very soon. So be patient with that. And Jeanette, again, thank you, and we appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
Send us your show thoughts, media@Tehachapi City Hall, and we will catch you again soon on TehachaPod.
TehachaPod is a conversation about Tehachapi designed for the people who live here or who would like to know more about this mountaintop community. If you have a question you would like answered, email media@tehachapicityhall.com. We will try to answer it on a future episode of TehachaPod.